Hello everybody, I'm Ed Robinson and welcome to another exciting edition of Striving for It All. This is the program that gets you caught up on anything and everything happening around the WNBA. Coming up on this edition of the program, the New York Liberty hit a milestone this year, and also we'll have your league leaders in standings and so much more. So stick around for that and enjoy the program. As always, I like to start off with my top three storylines. I like to start off talking about CaitlinClark. CaitlinClark, right? Tore it up at the University of Iowa during her college career. Her rookie year with the WNBA with the Indiana Fever. First half of the year started off rough, but finished on a high note. However, Caitlin, as you know, left off of this year's Olympic team. A blessing in disguise. The Olympic break lasted 3 weeks. Since the WNBA has returned from the Olympic break, CaitlinClark has been on fire, as well as her team, the Indiana Fever, which I will get to a little bit later. Caitlin has just been on a tear, breaking records during the first half of the year and then coming back from the Olympic break, continuing to break more records. Bottom line is this: CaitlinClark is box office. She was box office, being a part of the whole renaissance, the revival, or should I say an era in women's college basketball. Her, along with Angel Reese, also Paige Beckers, Juju Watkins, Hannah Hidalgo, just to name a few. Now, Caitlin, since she's been in the W, she's been met with a lot of resistance. There's been some jealousy. There's been some envy. But as I stated earlier, CaitlinClark has been box office since she's been in the WNBA. The Indiana Fever have seen ticket sales go up. They've seen engagement on their social media platforms like X go up. Jersey sales have gone up. They say a rising tide lifts all boats, and CaitlinClark has been the rising tide that has been continuing to lift the boats of the WNBA, which have been sinking for decades. So for a league that has never made a profit, this year could still be the turning point. They can turn it around. However, as I stated earlier, Caitlin has been met with resistance. There's been the old guard that has not been friendly to her. And again, she's not in college. It's a professional league, but you would want to welcome a change like this. You would want to, but unfortunately, it's been the complete opposite. But the numbers don't lie. And we've seen since Caitlin's been in the WNBA, an interest has grown, not just for women's basketball, but for the WNBA. The numbers have gone up with social media engagement. Revenue has gone up. And that Olympic break, the 3-week Olympic break, was definitely needed for Caitlin and the Indiana Fever. If you watched her and you watched the Indiana Fever play so far since they've returned from the break, they look fresh. They look like they needed the break. Caitlin needed the break as well as her teammates. They needed the break as well. And so far, so good for CaitlinClark. A blessing in disguise. You didn't make the Olympic team. Guess what? That's more eyes will pay attention to her, and more eyes will pay attention to the Indiana Fever. So Caitlin, she's definitely been on a roll. She's been cooking since returning from the Olympic break, and it's just good to see her out there. And she's really been playing with the vengeance since returning from the break thus far. And it's refreshing to see CaitlinClark doing what she does best, and that's play basketball. She played at a high level before the break, but so far she has been playing at an extremely high level since returning from the break. My next storyline is going to be the Indiana Fever. So I mentioned CaitlinClark, right? But hey, the Indiana Fever, listen, AliyahBoston has been balling. KelseyMitchell is like a walking bucket. Every time I see KelseyMitchell get the ball in her hands, I'm like, it's going to be trouble. Either she's going to take it to the house or she is going to set up a major three-pointer. KelseyMitchell is a walking bucket. I mean, she could score points on top of points on top of points. LexieHull, especially in this last game that the Fever have had, Lexie has really stepped up her game. And I think Coach Chris decides the jury's still out on her, but Lexie could get more minutes. I'd like to see Lexie get more minutes. And despite the injury to Timmy Fagbenley, Damaris Dentis has been a nice player coming off of the bench as of recent. So we talk Indiana Fever. Yeah, Caitlin's going to be Caitlin, but AliyahBoston and especially KelseyMitchell, my goodness, man, KelseyMitchell, it was refreshing to see her make the All-Star team this year. It was really good. I mean, you talk about one of the premier offensive players in the league, one of the solid scorers in the league, one of the solid shooters in the league. That's KelseyMitchell. And I'm liking the trio that I'm seeing with Clark, Boston, and Mitchell. Especially Clark and Boston, they've developed this nice pick and roll combination that they have. When they run the pick and roll, Clark and Boston, it looks similar to like a Stockton and Malone, so to speak, for those of you NBA fans out there. Some of you remember John Stockton, Karl Malone, how they ran the pick and roll to perfection. Well, I'm seeing a similarity with CaitlinClark and AliyahBoston. Caitlin's passes are just right on the money, not just going to Aliyah, but when she passes the ball to Kelsey, as well as her other teammates, it's a thing of perfection. I mean, CaitlinClark, yeah, the three-point shooting is going to take care of itself. But when you have expert passing like that, it's some things that you just can't teach. And certainly CaitlinClark just has a gift for finding the lanes and getting them to Aliyah and getting to Kelsey, as well as Nalissa Smith and LexieHull and the rest of her teammates. So the Indiana Fever, they're balling right now. And since coming back from the Olympic break, they have been on fire. And certainly they've taken advantage of the Olympic break to they got recharged, they got re-energized. Not just Caitlin, but the rest of the team, they really got on point. And the Indiana Fever are definitely making some noise as they try to make this playoff run, try to get a playoff spot. Maybe they get a higher spot, a higher seed. Who knows? Anything can happen in professional sports, and certainly the Indiana Fever, if they continue on this momentum and continue on this hot streak, things could definitely look up for Indiana. And for my last storyline is going to be the New York Liberty. So congratulations to the New York Liberty. They become the first team in the WNBA this season to clinch a playoff berth. And before the Olympic break, they were on a roll. During the month of July, they only lost one game. And they haven't lost a game since coming back from the Olympic break. Jonquel Jones playing at a high level. Sabrina Ionescu won an Olympic gold medal. Breanna Stewart won an Olympic gold medal. Guess what? They have not missed a beat thus far, and they're playing at such a high level right now. Courtney Vandersloot has played nice. Again, she's your typical floor general as well. So kudos to Sandy Brondello. Again, another solid year for the New York Liberty as they try to get back to the WNBA finals. And the Liberty, people would imagine, with the jet lag and all that stuff, especially what Ionescu and Stewart had to go through. But we haven't seen that as of yet. And they just picked up right where they left off at, right before the Olympic break. And again, congratulations to the New York Liberty on becoming the first team in the WNBA this year to clinch a playoff berth. All right, those were my top three storylines. Now let's take a look at the week that was in the W. Let's start off with action from Thursday, August the 15th. The Phoenix Mercury would go on to beat the Chicago Sky. Final score 85-65. The Minnesota Lynx would beat the Washington Mystics 79-68. And the New York Liberty would take care of the Los Angeles Sparks 103-68. We move along now to action from Friday, August the 16th. In a close game, the Atlanta Dream beat the Seattle Storm 83-81. The Connecticut Sun would go on to beat the Dallas Wings 109-91. And we had the Phoenix Mercury take on the Indiana Fever. The Fever would go on to beat the Mercury 98-89. It wasn't just about CaitlinClark in this game. It was about KelseyMitchell, also AliyahBoston, and Nalissa Smith. They contributed in a major way as well. Here's some action from the Fever win against the Mercury.
As Boston finds Mitchell, who finishes. As Boston dips inside and can't finish. Boston wrestling through a triple team. Here is Clark off the screen, launches, and drops a triple. Dialing back, and it's Clark on the other end at 22. Samuelson, good ball movements, and finds Smith. Mitchell pulls up and connects. Mitchell launches and hits a three. Dantas, tips it. There's Smith on the receiving end. Mitchell working on Copper, a couple of all-stars. Mitchell, she wins that battle. Fourth fastest pace of play, and that suits CaitlinClark. Clark, from the logo, couldn't get it to go, but there's Boston, who cleans up underneath. Indiana comes up with a turnover. Here is Clark. This time it's Smith with a foul and an and one. Here's Mitchell, behind the defense. And CaitlinClark can do no wrong. Wheeler turns the corner, gets inside, extra pass. That was pretty, and Boston cleans up. As Mitchell puts an end to it with a three. And Mitchell from the heavens. Clark step back on a deep two. Gets the shooter's touch. Mitchell with 5 seconds left. Cross court Clark. Does Clark see the clock? Handoff Samuelson. Who buries a three? Samuelson beats the buzzer. Clark off the screen, finds some space, and delivers. It's a triple for CaitlinClark. Clark seeing two, bounces. Beautiful. It's Boston with the finish. Mitchell, corner three, connects. Clark sizing up Cunningham. Here is Mitchell. Another three. Mitchell is locked in. He gets the step on Cunningham. Clark gets to the rim. And LexieHull, a triple of her own. Clark cutting. It's Mitchell with the finish.
All right, that audio was courtesy of the WNBA and Ion. So again, the final score was Indiana 98, Phoenix 89. So for the Fever, CaitlinClark had a double-double with 29 points and 10 assists. KelseyMitchell finished with 28 points. AliyahBoston had 14 points, and Alyssa Smith finished with 13 points. On the losing end for Phoenix, Kahleah Copper was the leading scorer with 32 points. Natasha Cloud finished with 19 points. Diana Taurasi finished with 16 points, and Brittany Griner finished with 10 points. Once again, the final score was Indiana 98, Phoenix 89. We move along now to action from Saturday, August the 17th. We had the Minnesota Lynx beat the Washington Mystics 99-83. The New York Liberty beat the Las Vegas Aces 79-67. We had the Chicago Sky beat the Los Angeles Sparks 90-86. And then we had action from Sunday, August the 18th. We had the Atlanta Dream beat the Connecticut Sun 82-70. We had the Las Vegas Aces beat the Los Angeles Sparks 87-71. The Phoenix Mercury would go on to beat the Chicago Sky 86-68. Despite the loss for the Sky, Angel Reese had 19 points to go along with 20 rebounds. And then we had the Seattle Storm take on the Indiana Fever. Indiana would beat Seattle 92-75. KelseyMitchell and CaitlinClark, they handled their business in this game. But this was also a game where LexieHull, she shined in a major way. Here's the Fever in action against the Storm.
Here's Clark. Clark looking to take it around Lloyd. Clark bodies in and finishes. What a pass. Boston to Mitchell for the finish. Boston fakes the handoff, going one-on-one with Russell and taking it to the rack. Clark, what a pass. In stride. And Hull lays it in. Clark trying to shake Whitcomb. Step back is good. Here's Clark. Looking to shake Horston. Clark sings a pass. Hull on the wing. Connects. Here is Mitchell off to the races. Scoops it in. Clark blitzed. Passes out of it to Boston. There is Mitchell on a three. Clark the fling ahead. What a dime. And Mitchell lays it in. And 2:26 and counting for Clark. Misses the three short. Lou Samuelson can't hit the three in the corner. Boston the rebound. Clark a good look. She got it. What a dime. Clark to Boston. Mitchell the knockaway. Clark's three. It's good. Over to Clark. Clark on the move. Little runner is good. Here's Clark. Quick first step. Clark cutting to the hoop. Able to lay it in. Nelson slings it over to Hull. Wide open three. She got it. For Indiana. On cue. Just Mitchell reigns in a three. Here's Clark bouncing. Boston hit it. Speeds into the paint. Curls around. Hull connects. Clark lobbing it in. Boston draws two in the corner. Hull. You bet. Clark. She got it. Here's Mitchell alone. Connects. Clark speeds into the paint. Kicks it out. Duntas. She got it. Everybody involved. Goes to Boston. Boston. Four to shoot. Duntas step back is good.
All right, that audio courtesy of the WNBA, ABC, and the Walt Disney Company. So the Fever handled their business, beating Seattle 92-75. KelseyMitchell was the leading scorer with 27 points. CaitlinClark finished with 23 points. AliyahBoston only had 9 points, but she had 15 rebounds. But LexieHull, she was sensational in this game. She finished with 22 points. On the losing end for Seattle, Jewel Lloyd finished with 26 points. Skylar Diggins-Smith finished with 15 points, and Nneka Ogwumike finished with 14 points. Again, the final score was Indiana 92, Seattle 75. And that takes care of the week that was in the W. All right, as always, it's now time to give you your current league leaders. Let's start off with points per game. The current leading scorer in the W is A'ja Wilson from the Las Vegas Aces. She's averaging 27 points per game. Coming in at number 2 is Kahleah Copper from the Phoenix Mercury. At number 3, Arike Ogunbowale from the Dallas Wings. At number 4, Jewel Lloyd from the Seattle Storm. And coming in 5th is Napheesa Collier from the Minnesota Lynx. Next category is rebounds per game. At number 1, from the Chicago Sky, Angel Reese. She's averaging over 12 rebounds a game. At number 2, A'ja Wilson. At number 3, Dearica Hamby from the Los Angeles Sparks. At number 4, Napheesa Collier. And at number 5, Jonquel Jones from the New York Liberty. Next category is assists per game. At number 1, representing the Indiana Fever, CaitlinClark. She's averaging over 8 assists per game. At number 2, Alyssa Thomas from the Connecticut Sun. At number 3, Natasha Cloud from the Phoenix Mercury. At number 4, Skylar Diggins-Smith from the Seattle Storm. And at number 5, Sabrina Ionescu from the New York Liberty. Next category is going to be steals per game. At number 1, representing the Dallas Wings, Arike Ogunbowale. She's averaging close to 3 steals per game. At number 2, Napheesa Collier. At number 3, A'ja Wilson. At number 4, from the Atlanta Dream, Ryan Howard. And at number 5, representing the New York Liberty, Breanna Stewart. Next category is going to be blocks per game. At number 1, representing the Las Vegas Aces, A'ja Wilson. At number 2, Ezi Magbagor from the Seattle Storm. At number 3, from the Los Angeles Sparks, Cameron Brink. At number 4, Elena Smith from the Minnesota Lynx. And at number 5, Brittany Griner from the Phoenix Mercury. Next category is going to be field goal percentage. Coming in at number 1, Tiara McCowan from the Dallas Wings. She's shooting 57% from the field. At number 2, from the Phoenix Mercury, Brittany Griner. At number 3, Jonquel Jones. At number 4, from the Indiana Fever, AliyahBoston. And at number 5, A'ja Wilson. Next category is going to be free throw percentage. At number 1, Dana Evans from the Chicago Sky. She's shooting 97% from the free throw line. At number 2, Arike Ogunbowale. At number 3, Sabrina Ionescu. At number 4, Kayla McBride from the Minnesota Lynx. And at number 5, CaitlinClark. Next category is going to be three-point percentage. At number 1, representing the Washington Mystics, Stephanie Dolson. She's shooting 50% from three-point range. At number 2, from the Minnesota Lynx, Cecilia Zandalicini. She's shooting 46% from three-point range. At number 3, Nneka Ogwumike from the Seattle Storm. Coming in 5th, Elena Smith from the Minnesota Lynx. And also her teammate is right behind her, tied for 5th as well, Bridget Carlton from the Minnesota Lynx. And the last category is going to be minutes played. At number 1, Arike Ogunbowale from the Dallas Wings. She's averaging 38 minutes per game. At number 2, CaitlinClark. At number 3, Dearica Hamby. At number 4, Kelsey Plum from the Las Vegas Aces. And at number 5, Nafisa Collier. That takes care of our current league leaders. Now here are the current standings. Currently in first place, the New York Liberty. They have a record of 23 wins and 4 losses. The Liberty are the first team in the W to clinch a playoff berth. Coming in second place, the Connecticut Sun. They have a record of 19-7. The Minnesota Lynx are in third place with a record of 19-8. The Las Vegas Aces are fourth with a record of 17-9. The Seattle Storm come in fifth place with a record of 17-10. The Phoenix Mercury are in sixth place with a record of 15-13. The Indiana Fever are in seventh place with a record of 13-15. Coming in eighth are the Chicago Sky with a record of 11-16. Coming in ninth are the Atlanta Dream with a record of 9-17. Followed in 10th by the Dallas Wings with a record of 6-20. The Los Angeles Sparks are next with a record of 6-21. And in last place are the Washington Mystics. They also have a record of 6-21. And that takes care of your current standings in the WNBA. All right, let's look ahead now to the upcoming games for the week in the W. So let's start off on Tuesday, August the 20th. We have 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central tip-offs where we have the Los Angeles Sparks going up against the Connecticut Sun. And we also have the Dallas Wings going up against the New York Liberty. And you can watch the Los Angeles and Connecticut game on League Pass. And you can also watch the Dallas and New York game on League Pass and NBA TV. And then Seattle Storm will go up against the Washington Mystics. You can watch that game on League Pass. We move along now to action on Wednesday, August the 21st. So tip-off will be at 7:30 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central, where we have the Phoenix Mercury going up against the Atlanta Dream. You can watch that game on League Pass. And then at 9:30 p.m. Eastern, 7:30 p.m. Pacific, we have the Minnesota Lynx going up against the Las Vegas Aces. You can watch that game on ESPN. We have action on Thursday, August the 22nd. Tip-off is at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central, where we have the Dallas Wings going up against the New York Liberty. You can watch that game on Prime Video. And then we move ahead to Friday, August the 23rd. 7:30 p.m. Eastern, 6:30 p.m. Central tip-offs, where we have the Phoenix Mercury going up against the Atlanta Dream, the Chicago Sky going up against the Connecticut Sun, and the Los Angeles Sparks going up against the Washington Mystics. You can watch those games on Ion and League Pass, depending on where you are in the country. So depending on the region that you live in, you can catch either one of those early games. And then at 9:30 p.m. Eastern, 8:30 p.m. Central, the Las Vegas Aces will square off against the Minnesota Lynx. You can watch that game on Ion and League Pass. We move ahead to action on Saturday, August the 24th, 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central tip-off with the Connecticut Sun going up against the New York Liberty. You can watch that game on League Pass. And then 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central, CaitlinClark, KelseyMitchell, AliyahBoston, and the Indiana Fever will square off against the Minnesota Lynx. And you can watch that game on NBA TV and League Pass. Then we head to action now on Sunday, August the 25th. 12 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. tip-off, the Las Vegas Aces go up against the Chicago Sky. You can watch that game on CBS. And then 4 o'clock p.m. Eastern, 3 o'clock p.m. Central Time, the Los Angeles Sparks will go up against the Dallas Wings. You can watch that game on NBA TV and League Pass. We move ahead to action now on Monday, August the 26th. We have a tip-off for 7:30 p.m. Eastern, 6:30 p.m. Central, with the Indiana Fever going up against the Atlanta Dream. You can watch that game on NBA TV and League Pass. And then we have tip-offs at 10 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific, with the New York Liberty going up against the Phoenix Mercury. And we have the Washington Mystics going up against the Seattle Storm. You can watch the New York and Phoenix game on NBA TV and League Pass. And you can watch the Washington and Seattle game on League Pass. We move along to action on Tuesday, August the 27th, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central tip-off between the Las Vegas Aces and the Dallas Wings. You can watch that game on NBA TV and League Pass. And then we move ahead to action now on Wednesday, August the 28th, 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central tip-off with the Connecticut Sun going up against the Indiana Fever. You can watch that game on NBA TV and League Pass. We have an 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central tip-off with the Washington Mystics going up against the Chicago Sky. You can watch that game on League Pass. And then we have 10 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific tip-offs with the New York Liberty going up against the Los Angeles Sparks, the Minnesota Lynx going up against the Phoenix Mercury, and the Atlanta Dream going up against the Seattle Storm. You can watch the Minnesota and Phoenix game and the Atlanta and Seattle game on League Pass. And the New York and LA game, you can watch that game on NBA TV and League Pass. Those are your upcoming games for the week in the W. So we're in the full swing of things. The Olympic break has come and gone, and now we've got a month and a half left of the regular season, and things are starting to pick up quite a bit. The New York Liberty, they've already punched their ticket into the playoffs. It's just a matter of now who's going to have which position, who's going to move up or who's going to move down. Will the Indiana Fever continue to move up? Will the Connecticut Sun move down? Or will we see the Minnesota Lynx move up? What about the Las Vegas Aces? Will the defending champions move up? Hey, we have a month and a half to figure that out as the second half of the WNBA season is well underway. Thank you so much again for joining me on the program. Until next time, everybody, I'm Ed Robinson saying so long, and you take care. Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning into the channel. Remember to click like, share, and subscribe. And thank you for watching.